Hello, Spiritual Center Spokane. This is Reverend Bonnie. It is November 4th. It is voting day here in Spokane, and it is raining outside with leaves everywhere. I took my morning walk today, and it felt like I was visiting different outdoor sanctuaries with its own colors of carpeting. And the carpeting colors ranged from yellow and orange and red to green and some brown. And it was just beautiful to walk this morning in the rain outside and have it be so fresh. So happy fall, happy autumn. It is really a change in the season for sure. And I'm glad to be with you today. Happy Tuesday to you. So, as I mentioned, I've been recording these in advance, same day, but in advance, and posting them because I'm taking a class on Tuesday nights. And the class is on abundance with Reverend Michael Beckwith, who I deeply love. And I will share some information about what I'm learning today. But I did want to say that it is cozy in my house. My Christmas tree is up. It was put up 2 weeks ago because what trick-or-treater doesn't want to see a Halloween or doesn't want to see a Christmas tree up when they go trick-or-treating? I mean, really. And I've had fires in my fireplace and it's just been cozy, lovely, lovely, and cozy. So, this past week, we have had Halloween, we have had the Day of the Dead, we have had All Saints Day. And for those of you who've known me for a long time, you know that any place I've been of service, I've had a large Day of the Dead service. I have put together something that has honored those who have gone before us, those meaning our ancestors, our direct descendant ancestors, and those who come after us if we have had some family members pass. And it's also honoring those who spiritually were part of our ancestry realm. So whether it's Emerson or Ernest Holmes or Mother Mary or Jesus or Buddha or whoever has been a spiritual ancestor, that counts. And so it's really a time to honor the invisible realm and what has taken form and what has shed form. So this past week has really been a week in our culture and around the world of a lot of honoring what has been and what is no longer. And part of the spiritual process of being present in the moment, being here now, part of the process is to be able to honor, respect, glean wisdom from that has come before, while and being in the present moment available to life now in operation through us. So when we look at being multidimensional beings, it's multidimensional as far as body, mind, spirit, soul, emotions, and it is multidimensional according to some of the latest science of literally meaning that our past lives, our past selves, our past um, that there is dimensions of being and beings around us that exist in the now as well. So this last week has carried a lot of that energy, and I've been very awake and aware to it, as I'm sure you have been. And this last week for me has been difficult. And what I shared with you is when I was asked to speak of how I live spiritually is that I'm pretty transparent. I share a lot about who I am, what I go through, the spiritual practices I use, how I open my heart, how I keep my heart open, what I do when my heart closes, all of that jazz that I share, I overshare. I'm a sharer. And so this last week was hard. And it was hard because I got snagged, as Reverend Michael Beckwith would call it, or I got caught, or I got seduced by what's going on in our country and in the world right now. And I went to the doctor yesterday because I'm having some intestinal pains. And just like everyone else who has body issues, I I believe that my body is a reflection in part from my consciousness. And so I do bring all of myself into prayer and meditation, to the holy space of the now. I bring myself into the presence and the present. And so nothing is left out. So I have this pain, and I was at the doctor yesterday, and the doctor said, Bonnie, you have to stop watching and reading politics. And she said, for some of my patients, I tell them, cut it off, no, none. And for others, I say, you can have 15 minutes a day. You know, she gives them a limit. And she said, for you, it's none. And that I know is because I'm so empathic that I actually feel people dying and struggling and starving and all of the stuff that's going on. And it's heightened right now with all of the drama that's going on in our atmosphere. And so her recommendation to me is to step out of it. So I'm going to do that for a while. I also believe that I am a prayer warrior and here to be on the planet to pray. And so it's important that I have some information on what's going on, but I am going to take her advice because intuitively it feels correct. And I'm actually going to spend the next 3 days in silence and solitude with all of my devices turned off. And I'm going to spend time going deep into myself to do some repairing. So I have been out and of service and engaged more than a contemplative like I am tends to be. And I took notes today when I was journaling my morning pages that a contemplative needs to contemplate. Talk about wisdom. A contemplative needs to contemplate. And so I will be setting up time Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, tomorrow, Thursday, Friday, where I turn everything off and it's me and divine presence God. And I will read sacred text and I will pray and I will meditate. And if you have prayer requests, drop them in the notes and I will bring you in with me. And I will be dedicating my time to the what would I call that? To the regeneration, maybe. Reconstitution. I'm not sure there's a word in there, but something of myself that I will be coming. I got far away from myself and now I'm coming back. My focus has been external and now it's time to balance and to come internal. It's time to return. I have been traveling out. It's now time that I travel in and that I return to self. So I'm really, really looking forward to that. And what that's going to look like for me is I'm going to fast. I'm going to have a water fast and a vegetable soup fast. Like I'll let myself have some vegetable broth and I'm going to fast, pray, meditate, journal, and read sacred texts. And so you will be in the field along with me as I do that beautiful light work, the work of God, the work of love. Mm, how fabulous. So, I shared with you that the last two Tuesdays I've been in abundance class. I have my third class tonight. And what we have learned thus far has been a review of the spiritual laws. And so the first spiritual law, which is always the first, is that there's only one. There's only one presence, only one life, only one God, only one energy, only one substance in the universe out of which all comes. And the Bible has taught that. All sacred texts teach that. And then the science now, the quantum science lets us know that there is an energy out of which all energy comes. And not only does quantum physics share that with us, but it lets us know that there is no distance in the separation. And I have known this for a long time. I have known that when I am living in Seattle and my daughter is living in Las Vegas and my best friend is living in Phoenix, so none of us are together. If one of us gets sick, I have experienced that all three of us get sick because we're connected not by time and space and germs in the room, but we are connected by a field of consciousness. And so I have been aware of, is it called the string theory? It's some kind of theory where on one part of the world something is happening and the exact same thing is happening connected. Like there isn't a disconnect in the universe energetically. All there is one, all there is energy, and we are all connected and interconnected. Now, we vibrate at different levels at different times. So it's like some of us are on I-5 and some of us are on I-90 and some of us are on 520. And we can be in different lanes of vibrational energy, but we're all on the highway. You know, we're all together, we're all one. So the very first knowingness is that there's only one. And in the Bible, I have really been using this in my prayers this last couple weeks, is that Jesus says in the New Testament many, many times, the Father and I are one. And so I've been having the best time in my prayers and in my conversations saying with God, saying, the Father and I are one, and therefore, the Father and I are one, and therefore, X, Y, and Z is possible. The Father and I are one, and therefore, together as the one, we can recreate, we can create, we can redesign a country, a world, a space that allows for and loves everyone present. We can do that. The Father and I are one, and therefore, the the pain I currently experience in my intestines can evaporate, can easily shift and turn into support. How beautiful that is. The Father and I are one, and therefore. So the first knowing, the first law, the first principle is oneness. There is no separation. That is profound. And if we just contemplated that for the rest of our lives on planet Earth, the principle of oneness, it would be amazing. Amazing. And so right now I just started reading a book called Necessary Losses. Someone recommended it to me and I don't remember who or why, but it's a New York Times bestseller. It's been around for at least 20, 25 years. I've read the very first chapter, and it's really interesting because in the first chapter it says we all experience a primary loss. And the primary loss that we experience is when we are born out of our mother, we leave a womb that we were well tended in into a separate we experience separation. We enter into a separate selfhood when we leave the mother. And in our entire life, according to this author who is a psychologist, that our job, our role, our unconscious is trying to go back to the union, trying to go back to the one, and it calls the one the womb of the mother. So, so the psychological realm and the spiritual realm are different, and they're different intentionally, and they have a very different vibration and a feel to them. And yet they both and more exist within us as multidimensional beings. So as I read this, I could say to myself, yes, in my psychological realm, that's true. In the psychological realm, I feel separate and I'm wanting to return to the one. In the spiritual realm, I've never left the one. The spirit lives from and in and with the one. And so I'm able to say both can be true at the same time because they're true in different dimensions within me. So I'm looking forward to continue to reading that book because it is true as you and I go through life transitions. And those of us who are still walking the planet are blessed to go through life transitions. As we go through them, whether they are birthdays, and mine comes up this month, woo, happy Sagittarius birthday. When we go through birth years, as we grow older, we are blessed that we have that opportunity for transition. What an absolute, total, and complete blessing. And yet, we lose people around us. Yeah. Yeah. And when we grow in consciousness, we no longer are interested in the things that those who aren't vibrating at a higher consciousness are interested in. So relationships shift and change, and those could be perceived as losses or the perception of a spiritual being can be how blessed I was in that time period to have that relationship. And it fulfilled its purpose. And now both of us have gone on. It's like we came together to love and then we separated to love, and we came together to love and we separated to love. And so I have some friendships that I've had for 55 years now. Oh, even longer. I've had some really long, long, long friendships. And then I've had some that have lasted weeks, and I've had some that have lasted years, and they're all different. And so wanting everything to be the same is a curse. We don't want that. We like the flexibility, the fluidity, and the love of God that continues to unfold the way that it unfolds. So we can look at things as loss. Oh my goodness, this is a loss. We can look at things as the new that is emerging. Oh my gosh, look what is emerging out of that loss, that perceived loss. Or we can not label it at all and just experience it. Just experience. This is here, this isn't, and there is no right and wrong in it, by the way. There are some things that hit me so deep and so hard, and other things that don't. So the East Wing of the White House was deconstructed, was torn down. And the picture of that for Americans, for some Americans, absolutely hit them at the core of their being. And there was this visceral response of our history is gone. And other people looked at it very neutrally, like, oh, it's the East Wing is gone. There's always change and there's more change, like it's neutral. And then other people love it. Like, yay, we're going to have some elegance in our country. One action, all different perceptions. So, what's wise is to be able to see the different perceptions, to feel what's coming up in yourself, And to love that emotion. Remember, we love what comes up because that's how we go back to our deepest self. God is love. Our God is love. So we love as it comes up. We love it. We don't try to change it, but the awareness that it could be seen in so many ways, and I'm choosing to see it in this way, gives me information about an attachment that I might have. So really wise, really good information. Anyway, so the first spiritual law, oneness. The second spiritual law is that there is no such thing as time, that everything is that there it that the now, the spiritual now is timeless. So, time exists as a mental construct in the minds of men and women in order to organize. So, we can organize our day and organize it when we get together. And it's an organizational function that we made up in order to be able to understand. It's a good thing. We like time, but time doesn't exist independent of our mental construct. God does. The timeless now does. So we know that all there is God, and in the realm of heaven, in the consciousness of God in the one, there is no time. And that's the place we enter when we pray. That's the place we go to when we meditate. That is the place that existed before we were born and will exist when we are no longer in human form. It is the timeless realm. So that is where we hang our hat and where we go. So all there is oneness. In the field of oneness, there is no time. And we can say there is no space too, but there just is no time. And then the third is that which is unlimited, that which is God, that which is unlimited, that which lives in that space has infinite potential. So everything that you and I see active and alive today that we call news or we call new or we call happening started in consciousness before it took form. So it's actually old. It is a demonstration of that which existed that has now taken form. So the practice that we do as spiritual metaphysicians, as spiritual mystics, is we enter into that timeless realm of infinite possibilities and we sit and we receive the guidance of God's love. And we ask from to. We ask from and to. So, in the Bible it says, seeking ye shall find, ask and it shall be given unto you. So we enter the place in consciousness and we ask. We ask. And I listened to an interview with an angel specialist this week who says, ask your angels, ask. So I have always been a straight to God gal. I'm a God gal. I'm going to go into that realm and whoever picks it up is fine. Whatever picks it up is fine because to me it's all holy and good. But there is a whole spiritual language that exists, and part of the languaging is this idea of angels or helpers in the invisible realm that work on our behalf. So whether it is God or Christ consciousness or the one consciousness or angels that are out at work, I don't need to know that level of detail. But what I do know is ask and we shall receive. So as I have been returning to my basics, I am returning to the practice of wanting and gratitude, which I love to go back to. I go back to the practice of I am and I have, and I journal about that. And I've been journaling forgiveness every day for a while now, cleaning out the attic that has been very cobwebby and praying from and for love. Yeah. So those are the three spiritual principles that we have reviewed in class so far. and we have done some prayer work and some transmission work. And what I can tell you is I remember nothing about the transmission work because I go to a place in consciousness that feels like I'm asleep, but I know I'm not. And I don't remember anything except that I feel different when it's done. So there we have it. Yeah, so that's been my Tuesday nights, and today I will pick that up and continue. We were given one piece of homework, and this is a homework I'll pass on to you too because it's lovely. And the homework is to give anonymously. And there was a time in my life that I was always giving anonymously, and I couldn't have been happier. I remember my very first job out of college. There was a woman who never had enough money to quite make her rent. And she was quite a bit older than me. And so I had the privilege of actually having two jobs because I worked all day during the day. And then at night, some nights during the week and on weekends, I could work out of my home doing some work for a company. And so so I had some extra where she didn't. And I used to mail her a $50 bill, which was a lot of money in the 80s, by the way. But I used to mail her a $50 bill or a $100 bill every month. And I had so much fun because I never put the return address. I had a card, a beautiful card, and I sent it. And it just felt so good to me. And because she was a friend, there was never anything weird or strange between us because, you know, she didn't know and I knew and I loved it. So it was a really lovely thing. And I've done that many times in many different ways, and it's always felt good. And I haven't done it in a while. So the assignment is to give anonymously. And so I have been having fun playing with what that can and what that does look like. And I tend to give not so anonymously. And so to think about how I do that without somebody knowing makes it really fun. It's kind of trickery or it's kind of sneaky or there's something about it that makes it fun in some weird way for me. So if you choose to do it, that's your homework assignment as well. So I think that's it for today. I just thank you for being on this YouTube, and I want to invite you again to leave a note to subscribe if you haven't already. What I've learned about YouTube is that the currency is subscriptions and making and leaving notes. That those two things have values in the algorithms, and I would like to honor that. So, yeah. And I'm closing out the year. I don't know about you guys, but I've made a list of all the completions I want to have before year end. So I'm closing out and we'll start new in 2026, which I'm looking forward to. So this may be a time for you as well that you want to just start and make a list or however you do it of things that you would like to complete and have done before the new year begins. And I see it as kind of an opportunity for me to have the long and the short term together. Like, here's the stuff I need to get done right away, and here's the stuff that will prepare me to start new. And so starting 2026, it's my hope that I dive deeper into understanding how to work YouTube well and how to make YouTube shorts and maybe put music behind things and actually use the tool in some additional ways. I just have been proud of myself this year for getting on every single week and leaving a post from my heart and my spirit and my wisdom and my understanding that comes from the one. And that has felt really good. And this next year, I would like to become better at it and be able to expand its reach. So this year has been closeted, if you will, and I would like to expand that. So I send you guys a lot of love and appreciation for your part of the deal because I can only do mine since you're there. So, love and blessings to you as we enter into this lovely upcoming season. So, let's close our eyes and feel our feet on the ground. This beautiful, holy, sacred ground that in my house is warm and outside is not. That in my house is dry and outside is wet. That in my house is toasty and outside is soggy. And so I just feel this ground beneath my feet. And then let's just take a few moments to just really feel our breath as it breathes us. And as I just took this moment to breathe, I saw pass in front of my eyes all of these people that I deeply love. I guess that happens when I get in a prayer pose, so I invite you to consciously, with your feet on the ground, your eyes closed, and feeling your breath, that you just allow yourself in your mind's eye to see the people that you love and just let them be in your field aware. And so repeat after me, even though life can be hard at times, I'm grateful for being in human form, alive on the planet at this moment. Thank you, God, for my life. And what happens when we do our spiritual work is that we build up a spiritual currency. And our desire is that the overflow of that currency touches the lives of other people so that we aren't spending, if you will, our we aren't spending our what's that word I'm looking for? I want to call it a nest egg, but that's not it. We're not spending our capital or our chunk, but instead we have such plenitude of love, such plenitude of grace, such plenitude of forgiveness that we have an overflow. We have an interest-bearing account. We have an overflow of this love and this grace and this healing power, that it's that we share with humanity. And of course, we don't say you can have this and you can't have that. It's all energy and it does its thing. But it's our commitment to the divine presence within us to build up our capacity to love. And so, right now, just be aware of that immense love that exists within your body temple and around your body temple. And you don't need to direct it in any way. Just know that if you have extra, the divine presence of love will utilize it to feed the souls of those who right now are anemic from love. And repeat after me, I forgive others for their perceived wrongdoings. And I forgive myself for my perception. I perceive others for their wrongdoings. I forgive myself for my perception. I forgive myself for all the ways that I've hurt myself, knowing and unknowing. I forgive myself for all of the ways that I haven't loved myself, knowing and unknowing. I give thanks for the beauty that is in nature. I give thanks for the beauty that is in humanity. And so, right here and right now, I give thanks to the Almighty One, the only One, the Divine Presence, Life herself. I give thanks for all of the good and the glory and the support that comes in this invisible realm. I ask to be reminded if I feel in any way, in any form of need, in any form of lack, that I turn to this invisible presence and ask. I ask that I be reminded of the abundance that I am. I ask that I be reminded of the healing power that resides within me. I ask that I be reminded of the love that just overflows and multiplies and has this just life of its own. It's so full and so big. And I just ask that I be wise enough to place my attention where it's worthy, that I place my attention where I'm called to place my attention, that I do what I'm called to do, and that anything else I let go. I let go. I let go. I let go. And so, for all of this good, all of this glory, all of this beauty, all of this love, I do give thanks. And for you and for who you are on this earth plane, I also give thanks. And together we say, and so it is. Amen. All right, sweet and beautiful friends, thank you so, so very much for tuning in again this week. I send you incredible love, and may you experience the blessing of God this week, and may it be so obvious to you that you can't ignore it. Love you. Have a great rest of your week.